Welcome to the Patterson Library Connection. In this episode of our podcast, we'll be bringing you good news, library happenings, and connecting with our Patterson community. I'm Lillie Muscente, the PR and event coordinator here at the library. This is going to be our short and sweet episode, where we just take a look back at an incredible year at the library. A year full of creativity, connection, and community impact. So grab a cup of tea or coffee and let's take a stroll through some of the highlights of the past year. Thanks for joining us. Now let's get started. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Lillie.
So it's almost Christmas and we're only a couple of weeks away from 2025. So are you one of those people that makes resolutions and looks at the new year as a fresh start? Or are you one of those, no, it's just the next day for me kind of thing?
I think that I would like to think of myself as one that would have a new resolution that I keep. And so I think if I do have resolutions, I think they're hopefully achievable. So maybe I'll hedge my bets a bit, like have like one or two achievable resolutions just to get myself confident. And if there's some I don't do, then that's okay.
Yeah, so I see it as a fresh start. I look forward to New Year every year, and I make my list of goals and objectives and all of that. I have to have a fresh notebook, even though the one I used last year only has 3 pages used. Like I just like it all fresh and clean and a real fresh start. So, I'm going to set some attainable goals as well. How'd you do with last year's goals?
I think health-wise, I did better. Incremental improvements for sure, which is good because you can't really do much else if you don't take care of your health. And, that's something I think, everybody deals with and we all are on a journey with. So that was good. Being a parent, still a newer parent, we're hitting our stride. Like, so now instead of like being an hour late to everything, we're only half an hour late to everything, mm-hmm. Or, instead of not showing up at all. So sure. That's huge. I think that's manageable. I was going to say actually I do have a fresh start thing going on, but of course mine is digital. So okay. I start every year with a fresh hard drive. So I clean out the old hard drive, or I say I will, but usually I just leave a bunch of stuff in there, and I buy a brand new hard drive or add on to it. So I back everything up. I try to back it all up. And people should do this too. But, from mm-hmm. tech support, I always would say, just back it up. Have sure. The 3-2-1 rule, which is 3 backups, 2 with you, 1 off site. I don't do that. But at least have 1 backup.
It sounds great, though.
It sounds like a great idea. And I actually take mostly, like our family photos and stuff, mm-hmm. and I'll back all those up. So it's kind of a chance to look back over the year and see that fly by in front of you. Right. And then I start with a new hard drive and start backing everything up again for the new year and going month by month. And one of these days I'll actually get to look at them and share them and make actually maybe an edit or something. My wife was saying that we really should be proactive and maybe at the end of each month do one of those photo albums because keeping it on your phone and your iPad or online is one thing, but having a physical copy, it's kind of nice to have like a coffee table book.
I agree with Virginia on that one for sure. It is something that I will browse and look at, and the ones on my phone, of course, I am constantly looking at, but I have to delete them. My iCloud is full of storage.
Like everyone else's.
I keep paying for more. So it is one of those things that, when you have a physical book in hand, it really is nice to be able to take a look back and see. And I even see it in my grandchildren liking to pick up the book and look at the old pictures and stuff. So it's something to
Absolutely.
Having it like that. Yeah, for sure.
I think there's a lost art to that. It's like the lost art of the mixtape where, you only had a certain limited amount of time. So you have to be careful with your selections. Whereas like with, playlists or endless photo albums, you just throw it up. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I think that intention to the framing is a really important skill, and it makes it it also makes it more meaningful. Everything now has impact rather than disappearing into the sea of media that we live in these days.
Absolutely. Well, so now we've got a couple of goals.
Absolutely. Let's see what we'll check in next December.
I know. We'll see.
We'll
see. I didn't start my list yet. I have a few in my head. So we'll see. And a lot of it is kind of more work-life balance, I think, related, like doing a few of the things that I really love to do, doing more of that, and, like listening to live music, and just going to a few of the places on my list that I want to see, and not, I won't call it a bucket list. It's more of a to-do list. So, we'll see. So let's get it rolling here. Now it's time for some good news. So one of the things I want to talk about is Saturday's Holiday Fest. If you didn't get to come by, it was wonderful. There was a parade, a tree lighting, vendors, and it happened right here at the library on the Patterson's greenhouse's lawn, right next door, and at Cartwright's. It was such a great community event. I will say there was a parade with trucks and floats from local businesses and organizations. The firehouse was there. I saw some guys from the highway department, Patterson Auto Body, Hyatt's Well Drilling, a lot of other ones as well. I think Cartwright had a truck too. There was Gingerbread Men and the Grinch, and my grandson had the best time watching this parade. So it was just really nice to see the community come out and enjoy being together. And there were carolers, and Larry Maxwell sang, and David Frost did the countdown to the tree lighting. So it was just a fun night. It was really a magical evening for the community here in Patterson. So kudos to the Petersons for hosting it this year and for kicking it off. And I look forward to next year and watching this thing grow and watching this community come together again for another fantastic event. So it was just terrific. So our good news was that we actually had a really cool holiday fest right here, and so many people got to enjoy it. So it was a terrific night.
Absolutely. I got to catch some of it, and actually I think we have some audio that we took from it. Should we take a listen?
Sure.
All right, here we go. So this is right before the tree lighting ceremony. We'll give you a little taste of what it was. If you caught it, you might be singing along. And if you didn't catch it, come next year and you can be part of the fun.
Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeers loved him, they'll shout it out with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas.
That was so fun. That was Larry Maxwell singing along with the kids and David Frost doing the countdown. So it was truly a great community event.
And Larry had an amazing Victorian kind of outfit on, or costume. It looked, top hat and everything. It looked legit.
Yes. And we had the carolers singing along with him, and there were a few fireworks after. Did you catch those? Yeah,
I did. I caught some fireworks.
Yeah,
they had everything.
Yeah.
They had a petting zoo. The goats were out. There were some Christmas goats we got to hang out with and pet.
Some terrific vendors here and at Cartwright's, and I hope everybody did well. And it was just a wonderful night for Patterson. So, I'm looking forward to next year already. And that was our good news. So before we dive in, I just want to say how grateful we are for all of you, our patrons, staff, volunteers, and supporters. The library has always been more than just books on shelves. It's a hub for ideas, a space for creativity, and a gathering place for friends and neighbors. This year reminded us once again of the magic that happens when a community comes together. So there were just so many of these great moments where a community did come together here at the library. And for me, I think my favorite thing about last year was this podcast. Yay! We got it off the ground, and we got 9 episodes under our belt this year, and it was
I can't believe it, really. I mean, like, not that I didn't think we could do it, but it's still like looking back and thinking about episode 1 to episode 9. It's pretty incredible. So, I mean, kudos to you and the library team here and all of the guests that came in and really made this interesting and possible. That's what it was really amazing to see. See the community come out and be part of this, and hopefully it becomes more and more of something where it's theirs too. I think that's how I feel. It's not just ours, it's ours.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things we talked about so much when we were coming up with the title, the Patterson Library Connection. It truly is to connect with community. And from our feedback, we've gotten great feedback, and I appreciate that from all our listeners that have reached out. I actually was so excited. We got a little fan mail, and thank you to all of you who don't tell us all the bad stuff. I appreciate that too. No, but seriously, it was really fun to hear all the great feedback we've gotten over time. People have reached out and said they enjoy listening and and they're learning. And that's one of the things that I take away from all of this is how much I've learned this year from our guests. It's been a lot of fun. Aside from, the technical side of doing the podcast, which is all new to me, which I feel really grateful to be able to do. The actual learning about the organizations and the people and all of the work they do has been fascinating.
For me too, I think it's sometimes nice, like when it's really hitting its stride. I think we're just sitting back and being like, wow, we get to actually. We're the audience here, and the guests kind of come in, and it's amazing to see the diversity of talent and interests that really sometimes you don't get to dive into as much. People
For
do
sure.
things, you see some posts, but to hear people unpack it a bit, and see how much attention to detail and heart and soul goes into people's passions, it's invigorating. It's inspiring.
It really is. And I know we started with my friend Lori Rollison, who was brave enough to be our first guest. I don't know anyone else who would want to be the first guest on a new podcast. She was so wonderful and fun. And we talked about the Travelers Book Club, which we started here. And I was so excited. I think I was so excited, I said it 70 times. So, lesson learned, podcast number 1, do not say the same thing over and over again. And I have tried really hard since then to come up with new adjectives to use. And I think I just replaced, I'm so excited with amazing, fantastic, and a lot of other overused adjectives. But we're getting better.
I know my holiday gift for you is the podcast thesaurus, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I mean, we are at the library, so
Yes, that's true. It's true.
Raid the shelves for that.
But I promise I will continue to work on that and not repeat those words over and over again. But it is hard when you're talking to people, and it is exciting, and it is fascinating, and it is amazing. I know we started with Laurie, then we went to the Frogs, the Friends of the Great Swamp. We talked to Judy, Kelly Moberg, and Nancy Clark about the quilt that now hangs here in the library. And one of the things that was so fun with that one was we really got to see the behind-the-scenes friendship between everybody who got involved in making the quilt, and just how much fun they had doing that, and how much care and dedication to each design, each stitch, and all of the details that it hangs here, and it's beautiful. But if you didn't hear the story behind it, you would miss all of that too. So I loved learning more about that and just seeing how much work went into that meticulous piece of art that hangs here. It's beautiful.
I love that episode too, because I'm a big fan of nature, and one of the reasons we moved to Patterson's, we love being outdoors, and we love being able to be at peace and take a break from a lot of the current of the modern technical society that we live in. And I knew about the swamp in passing, but I hadn't really had a chance to really dig into it. So they actually really inspired me to go out with my family and go for hikes. And I've been telling everybody about it, and how, there's so much more, importance to this thing that sometimes doesn't get as much attention, or maybe the same idea of importance as some other places like the reservoirs or the other part of our aqueduct system that's so essential. So it's something that I hope that myself, I will continue to be a bit more appreciative of, and I hope that other people were, inspired as well, and that we make this something, that spreads in our community, and something we all stand up and fight for, because if we don't, like as the lady said, it's not going to be there forever if someone doesn't reach out and step up.
And that's the importance of what they do. The Friends of the Great Swamp really bring awareness to the swamp, and it really is important to get the word out. And that was another thing that we talked about with the podcast, was being able to reach people and letting them know how important some of these organizations are and the work that they do, and giving people an opportunity to get involved. So like you just said, it inspired you to do more and appreciate it more. If it inspires other people and they hear about the Friends of the Great Swamp, they can reach out and join the organization and do their part. And that was the same with our Rotary discussion with Jason Maxwell and Ralph Rosenfeld. They were so fun to talk to.
They were awesome. I
learned so much about Rotary International, and even on a local level, just how much that group does for this community. I mean, I have witnessed that here at the library. They have been very generous to us, but how much they do in other ways. Bringing pumpkins down to the Bronx, how cool is that? I saw pictures of that on the website, and it was really amazing to see what they do for those kids in the city to get a little feel of a pumpkin patch. It's wonderful.
If I was people from the city, I would also appreciate not having to drive up 684 in the traffic to get to all the orchards and the harvest fest. And we were joking, I think, around the time that, all the folk from the city kind of come up and do leafing up here, and we all go up north. You push further north, let them have these orchards, and we go a little further north. But yeah, those guys were amazing to talk to, and so generous. I think they even had an open offer for my son to come over. He's into trucks and diggers, to come say hi and play in it. We haven't taken them up on it yet, but we will soon, I think, when the springtime comes. Well,
we'll have our Rotary Touch a Truck event. We partner with them again. I think it's either the first or second week in June, but it's an annual event.
Mark your calendar.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I'm blocking it out. Mm-hmm. And one thing I didn't know about the Rotary Club was that how international it was, and that they do works and charity and help people in disaster zones around the world. I had no clue.
Me
at
either.
All.
That is one of the things that I learned about them, and I've known them for years. So it was really wonderful to hear how much they do, and in places that are just in crisis. So they are just so impactful to so many people. And that was a really fun discussion. I love working with those guys. And hey, who ever thought we would have talked to a rock star, right?
Absolutely.
When we started this, that was the last thing I thought we would ever do.
You never know who's here in this community. That was a lot of fun. I think you're talking about
Ellen Foley.
Ellen Foley.
Yeah, getting to talk to Ellen Foley, who sang with Meatloaf, has been on Broadway and in movies with Tom Cruise and Michael Douglas, and just she was on TV in Night Court. Just to get to meet somebody like that and hear her fascinating story about her career was just a highlight for me. She was so fun and so interesting and just so down to earth, and I loved learning about her and her family, and her generosity to the library and doing the fundraiser for us was amazing. We made $3,000 and had such a great time. We just had such a fantastic night. The people that came loved every minute of it. She was so engaging, and it was really, we billed it as an intimate evening with Ellen Foley, and that's exactly what it was. We just got to learn so much about her, about the business and the behind the scenes world of being a rock icon, and it was amazing. Like that whole story, it was wonderful, and I loved the opportunity to interview her. She was terrific, as was Tara O'Grady.
Another performer.
Yeah.
I noticed for both of them, they're just pros with the mic technique too.
Yes.
We noticed Ellen, she came in, she knew what she was doing. And like if she had to take a sip of water, she leaned way over away to sip it. I've been doing that today. I've been doing the Ellen Foley water sipping on
There
the
you go.
podcast technique, which I picked up from her. So I'm gonna steal as many tricks as I can.
Yeah.
And and Tara was a really interesting guest as well, multi-talented.
She's an author and a singer, and she's performed everywhere. And she wrote this amazing book, Migrating Towards Happiness, that we talked about. She was so fun. She's just such a bubbly, fun person. And if you ever get to see her in one of her performances, she performs a lot locally. She's just like this dynamo of energy. She just is so fun. I loved having her here. And she came and did a concert for us as well. And it was just an amazing year of fascinating people to talk to. And here I go, fascinating. Let's cut that piece out.
I'm keeping it in.
Okay.
Well, and Tara also was so kind. My parents' anniversary was coming around the time that she did the performance with the Irish tenor over on Bannerman Island.
Yes.
And so we coordinated behind the scenes. She was really so cool to do this. My parents' first dance was to Van Morrison's Moon Dance. And so she kind of snuck it into the audience and pulled them out and identified them. And it's like, I heard somebody's anniversary. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I heard about the story and surprised them with a rendition of Moon Dance.
That was so cool.
Who does this? Like, these are the quality people that we get to work with here at the podcast and are in our community.
And that's the thing I feel so blessed about. By this podcast has allowed me to meet some amazing people, and they're all so generous with their time, their talent. I have to say, I know Jonathan Kruk, the storyteller, was here with Ellen Tannenbaum, and they talked about the storytelling profession and the behind-the-scene thing, how he worked for Henry Kissinger and ended up taking care of his plants, to storytelling. It's like so interesting. I always think like, okay, I was born in the Bronx and we moved up here and I'm 60 miles from where I started. So, like, these people have been everywhere and done such amazing things, and I'm grateful for all the fun stuff I've done. But it is fun to hear other people's stories because it brings you places too. So I really love that. And Sharon and Joanne and Georgine, the artists who are on our last episode, talked about their collaborative efforts and working together on artwork and bringing things to community. And it made me really think how much of an impact each of us has on a community. Their paintings are hanging in the library, and actually we extended their show till March. And how many people come in and stop and look and see it? So every little thing matters. All of these artists and performers and what they do in the organizations, they all make such an impact on each of us in some way. And the fact that we get to tell people about it is really wonderful for us. So, and I, of course, couldn't do this without you. So, I appreciate you very much. So,
without you, Lillie, this wouldn't be, there'd be a twinkle in someone's eye, and you made it a reality.
Well,
and so, thanks for having me, really. Well,
and thanks to Paul Camarda again for donating to this project and really making it happen with our trustees. It's the generosity of people around us that makes this grow and makes this community and this library what it is. So we are lucky.
Very lucky. And I think, looking back just now about all these episodes we did with all the different people and there's so many different mediums and different ways that they create. Everyone's creating. And I find that really legitimizing. And I personally take that as an inspiration, and I hope other people do as well, that there really is no one right way to create or be successful or make your way in life. And I think it's really easy these days with social media to get wrapped up in looking at, posts or whatever from people that, you might think have success or riches or, experiences that you don't have. But the truth is there's no right way. We all have our own journey, and getting a chance to hear about the journeys of our guests and all the challenges that they faced and how they overcame them is just very inspiring. It makes you feel good about your own. It makes you feel that you're doing okay, and just keep going.
Absolutely.
Just keep going up that mountain.
Absolutely. And I do think that when we talk to some of these people, they do inspire us to look at something else. I know I have taken some of the stuff we've heard and learned, and I've gone and read the books, or I've gone and listened to another podcast on a topic that we've learned about, and it really is inspiring. It helps you to grow. All of this, every person I have met here has truly helped me to grow in some way. So I think we're onto something here, Adam. I think we're okay, right?
I think so. I think we're doing something.
We're doing something. I think we're doing something right. So that's not a bad thing. And I think, the library in general has had such a busy year too. The arts continue to be a focus for us. Last year we had music, visual arts, storytelling, and theater for the kids. I love when we fill our park with people dancing and listening to music. Last year, we had the Calpulli Mexican dancers do a beautiful performance for us in full costume. And that was part of our grant with the Putnam Arts Council. And Ringrose and Freeman, the Celtic duo, performed their songs and told stories in March. The kids did their summer theater performances. And we had Jonathan Kruk, the storyteller, and 6 other amazing storytellers perform for Telebration, which is a worldwide event where storytellers come together on one day and just storytell. So we've done so much. And even for the kids and families, I love the energy our young patrons bring to the library. Our Rotary Touch-a-Truck partnership we talked about is such a fantastic day with literally thousands of people coming here for the fun activities, and then going across the street to the fire department to check out all the big rigs and equipment. It's just a great day. And the little ones, they're in here for weekly story times, and they come in for crafts, and they're so creative. They make all these cool little things. Next week is gingerbreads and houses, and they're just really just another level of energy and fun, and I just love when they come in here. And we are so much more than books, but you know what? It is wonderful when we see high marks for these kids when they come in and they read 2,500 books for a summer reading program.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. So it's a little bit of everything. And if you were lucky enough to catch the glow-in-the-dark bubble bus, we handed out pumpkins, and they came and saw neon bubbles in the dark. I mean,
I've never seen that before. It was, I have to say, for a Halloween activity, that was very cool.
It is. It is an amazing event, and it was fantastic. So I think the library in general had such a fantastic year. We did so many community partnerships, and the fundraiser, and our friends group has grown, and they're a wonderful group of people that do some amazing work here. I think it was just an amazing 2024.
It's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted, right?
Yep. Yes. We already have some great things in the works. So I think we are heading for an incredible 2025. We will continue to do the things we've started and take them to another level and bring on some new stuff. So looking ahead, while we're celebrating the year behind us, we're excited about what's to come. And next year promises to be an incredible year. And we already have a lot of things on the books planned. So stay tuned. And of course, we'll keep finding ways to bring people together, inspire creativity, and celebrate lifelong learning. That's what we do here. So keep an eye on our calendar, because you won't miss what's coming next. It's going to be just a wonderful 2025 for all of us.
I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to our next year of our continued podcast. When do we hit 1 year again?
In April. I think that was the release of our first one. Yeah.
All right, we're going to have to do something special for that.
Yes, we will.
Do a special pod. So stay tuned to April for our anniversary podcast. We got a few more to go to get it right. Yeah. And then I'm just really grateful to be part of this, and it's been a lot of fun. And I think we're going to continue having a lot more fun.
I think so too. As we close out the year, I just want to say thank you once more to all of you. Whether you came to a program, checked out a book, or just spent time in our space, you are what makes this library so special. So here's to another year of stories, art, learning, and community. Thank you for tuning into the Patterson Library Connection. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us grow, please share it with a friend. You can follow and subscribe to our podcast on our website at pattersonlibrary.org, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. This podcast was recorded at the Patterson Library in Patterson, New York. Special thanks to our sound engineer, producer, and composer, Adam Bernier, our library director, Stephanie Harrison, our board of trustees, and to you, our listeners. I'm your host, Lillie Muscente. We'll see you next time on the Patterson Library Connection. The Patterson Library trustees and staff do not promote nor endorse the opinions of our guests.